Hello everyone, and welcome again to a video about some textures and different things that we can do with 3D objects in Unity. So in the last video, I used something called a height map to create some terrain. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can use grayscale images to create what are called normal maps. So to do that, I'm going to select a material here. So I've already set up a bit of a Unity project. I've got this flagstone image, and I have created a material out of it, and I have added that material to a plane. And I'm actually going to drop smoothness value quite a bit so that it doesn't look so shiny. So this is our flagstone. One of the options that we have in our material is to add a normal map. And I talked about this a little bit in a previous video, but I didn't explain it very well. So let me talk about what a normal map is. A normal map is designed to make a texture look 3D or bumpy. And we do that by mapping the individual contours of texture. So what happens here, the idea is that these flagstones would become raised and the mortar would sink in a little bit. So it would look a little bit more three-dimensional. We're going to do that in a couple of different ways. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a grayscale version of this that details the heights, and then we are going to use to convert it into a normal map. So there, I'm going to open up a program called GIMP. GIMP is kind of like a free Photoshop style editor. But what we're going to do is we're going to use this to turn our image into a grayscale image. So as explained in class, the way that height maps work are lighter colors are raised surfaces and darker colors are lower sunken depressed surfaces. So hopefully this will end up being a lighter color than our mortar. So this is pretty much the same process in GIMP or in Photoshop. Either way, we want to get this to be grayscale. So we're going to go to Mode, Grayscale. That turns everything gray. And notice that these are lighter colored than the mortar in between them. That's what we want. Now, if we were dealing with a more complicated surface, like if we were dealing with bricks, which are much darker than flagstone, we might actually have to go in here and color each of these guys by hand. So once we make our grayscale image, we may have to make these all one solid white color if we wanted to, and then make these a solid black color. But for this particular video, we're just going to look at what happens if we turn it into grayscale and import it by default. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as... Actually, I want to export it. I want to export as my flagstone.jpg, but I'm going to call this flagstone grayscale.jpg. Export it. That should take just a moment. And if I look now, I have a grayscale version of our flagstone. So one of the things that I want to show you guys is we can actually change the flagstone image to be a normal map. So it's not a normal map yet. Basically, the grayscale helps Unity distinguish between high and low. If we wanted to, we could make a grayscale, or we could make a normal map out of the original image, but because of all of the color, it's more difficult for Unity to figure out how to make it a normal map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my grayscale version, and I'm going to go to where it says Type Default, and I'm going to change this to normal map, and I'm going to check off Create from Grayscale. See this here? So what this does is it says, all right, this is a grayscale image. Go ahead and make it a normal map. And I'm going to click Apply. And then something crazy happens. It's hard to see, but if we look at this now, it has a bunch of different purple, bluish hues. What Unity has just done is scanned the image for light and dark colors, and then created different heights or different Z values for every pixel in the image based on how lightly colored or darkly colored the image is. So now we're going to go to our stone plane. We're going to go to normal map, and we're going to choose that normal map that we just created. And here we can see, I go to my Y view, we can see that it's starting to have the light reflect off of our rocks or our flagstone in such a way that the flagstone appears three-dimensional. So the question becomes, why does it look so bad, right? Why does it have all of this? It almost looks like waves. It's super choppy. So in the real world, what a 3D artist would do is they would create a normal map or a grayscale image based on the original image. So they would actually take this flagstone picture, and rather than rely on the textures in the picture, they would lightly color all of the flagstone and then darken all of the areas that were meant to be flatter. That way, the areas that are meant to be kind of flat, like these flagstones are flat, they don't stick up all jagged like this. But what Unity is doing is it's looking at all these different colors, and it's saying, oh, if these are different colors, then that must mean that these are different elevations, which isn't the case. So really, if you're looking for a more perfect normal map, ideally you're going to have to spend some time and care perfecting your grayscale image that will become your normal map. So the best normal maps are ones that are solid colors in the areas that you want to be the same height. Which is another reason why we may have been seeing some issues in class with really jagged height maps. And that's probably because there were too many shades of gray in our height maps. And so that causes Unity to assign a different height for every single shade of gray. One thing that I am going to post in the description below is a link to a video that shows you how to create your own height maps. And I think they explain it much better than I do, and they also use a different program that allows you to export images as 16-bit images. So take a look in the description for that video. Hopefully this cleared up normal maps a little bit, and if you guys want to make normal maps for your textures, remember that a handmade normal map with more consistent coloring is going to look a lot nicer than just converting our normal maps. But this is sort of a quick and dirty way of creating some 3D texture. Thanks for watching.